Alright, what's up YouTube? This is BoxingWave back with another Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao video. Okay, this is like my fifth one ever since they officially announced the fight. I've been doing prediction videos and several other videos in regards to this fight, okay? So this video here, we're going to sit here and compare the common opponents for Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. There's 5 of them. We have Juan Manuel Marquez, Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, Ricky Hatton, and Miguel Cotto, okay? Shout out to D-Style Boxing, and make sure you subscribe to his channel. I'm going to leave his information in the description. He's the one that came up with the idea. He's been doing a series of videos where he's comparing the fighters and the fights and their performances. The only thing is he's comparing each fighter in each separate video. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you a quick breakdown, my opinion on who had the better performances between those 5 fights, or those 10 fights, but those 5 opponents, okay? So shout out to D-Style. This is not a direct response to him, okay? I disagree with some points, and I agree with him with a lot of points. But this is not a direct response. I just thought it was a great idea, great topic, and I'm doing my video on it now. So let's get it started. Oscar De La Hoya. Floyd Mayweather fought him first. Okay, Floyd was coming up from 147 to fight Oscar at 154 for Oscar's title at the time. Okay, I don't believe there was any catch weight or anything. They fought at 154, and it was straight like that. This was Floyd's first fight at 154. At the time, Oscar De La Hoya was the pay-per-view cash cow. Okay, he was coming off of a win against Ricardo Mayorga, okay, and Floyd was coming up in weight to fight him. Now, as far as the fight, it was a good performance of Floyd. Okay, this is his first time fighting at 154, moving up to fight a Hall of Famer. Okay, a great fighter, an Oscar. I thought he performed well. I thought he won pretty convincingly. Okay, I believe the fight was a split decision, but I thought Floyd clearly won the fight. You know, I think he won it, 9-3 rounds, 8-4 maybe, okay? But I thought it was a clear win for Floyd Mayweather, okay? As far as Manny Pacquiao moved up from 135 to fight Oscar De La Hoya, okay? He moved up from 135 and Oscar came down to 147. Now, at this point, Oscar haven't fought, okay, at least over a year. I believe, no, he fought Steve Forbes in between his loss to Floyd Mayweather and his fight with Manny Pacquiao, okay? Now, when he came down to 147, Oscar haven't fought at 147 in a very, very long time, all right? It's been a long time. Oscar moved up to 154 for Shane Mosley, went up to 160 for, like, Felix Sturm and Bernard Hopkins, moved back down to 154. He hasn't fought at 147 in a long time, okay? And even though this was a big jump for Pacquiao because, he's a smaller guy moving from 135, going up 2 weight classes to fight Oscar, it was a big challenge. A lot of people thought that was a huge step for Pacquiao and that he was too small. But he looked great. He stopped Oscar. He won every round leading up to stopping Oscar. And he stopped him in the 8th round. And that was that. Now, who do I think have the best performance? It depends on how you look at it, okay? Now, Oscar was better against Floyd Mayweather. He was a better fighter when he fought Floyd Mayweather. No doubt. He was a better fighter at 154. He has been fighting at 154. He was a champion at 154 when he fought Floyd. Okay, he was active at the time. When Pacquiao fought him, he fought a weight-drained version of Oscar De La Hoya. Yes, Oscar haven't fought at 147 in a long time. He didn't look great. He didn't look healthy. And he got dominated by Manny Pacquiao. This is the thing, though, and you're going to be shocked with me because I'm a guy that believes Floyd Mayweather is going to beat Manny Pacquiao. I think Oscar, I watched the fight maybe a little bit over a month ago. Like, whenever they announced the fight, I was going to do a prediction video. I started watching the old fights. I went back and watched the fight with Floyd and Oscar again. Oscar was a champion, yes, at the time. Oscar did fight at 154, a weight that he's been fighting at. Leading up to this time, I always thought that Mayweather had a better performance because he fought a better version of Oscar. But the version he fought of Oscar still was not near his prime, in my opinion, when Floyd Mayweather fought him. If he fought the Oscar from the 147 days, I think it would have been not a much tougher fight because I believe this outcome would have been the same. But Oscar was not near his prime by the time Floyd Mayweather fought him. Oscar was not good when Manny Pacquiao fought him neither. But he wasn't at his prime. He went up to 160. He didn't look good against Felix Sturm. He didn't, he got knocked out against Bernard Hopkins. And, beating Ricardo Mayorga is not really a big, impressive win, in my opinion. Okay, he lost to Shane Mosley recently before that, which is a debatable, fight as well. It's just that Oscar, when he fought Floyd, that Oscar, he was still a good fighter, a very good fighter, but he was not near his prime. Okay, so in my opinion, I'm gonna give the nod to Manny Pacquiao. I'm giving him the nod. All right, and in the past I felt different about it because of the weight issues, but Manny Pacquiao did go up 2 weight classes, and you know what? When I sit here and watch Oscar that fought Floyd, if Manny Pacquiao fought and went up in weight, in whatever weight, if fought Oscar at 154, he would have beat Oscar the same day Floyd Mayweather beat him. Okay, he was just too fast. I seen Oscar had a lot of trouble against Floyd Mayweather's speed in that fight, and if Manny Pacquiao fought him, he would have had even more trouble. Okay, so I'm giving the nod to Manny Pacquiao. Surprise, yes, I'm giving it to Manny Pacquiao. I was more impressed with that win. All right. All right, so let's go next. Let's go to Miguel Cotto. Let's talk Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto fought Manny Pacquiao first, okay? Manny Pacquiao, who had just started fighting at 147, okay? He had a couple wins, I believe. I think this was after the Ricky Hatton fight. I'm not really sure, all right, what order. Ricky Hatton or Cotto first. I can't remember. But anyway, I think it was Ricky Hatton first and then Cotto. He fought Cotto in a fight that a lot of people thought that Manny Pacquiao beat Oscar, but it was a weight drain version of Oscar. He's fighting Cotto, a guy that's been fighting at 147 for a while now. Even though he lost to Antonio Margarito, that was his only loss. A lot of people don't count it because of the loaded glove situation. But anyway, Manny Pacquiao fought Cotto. A lot of people thought Cotto's going to win this fight. He's too big. He's too strong. He's been fighting at 147. And Manny Pacquiao he destroyed Miguel Cotto. It was a good fight up until when Miguel Cotto got dropped. I think it was in the 3rd round, I believe, 3rd or 4th round. The first couple of rounds seemed pretty competitive. After that, it was all Manny Pacquiao. He destroyed him. They stopped the fight in the 12th round. It was a great performance. I remember this fight clearly because there's 2 fights that I put a lot of money up. And that was a fight that I lost a lot of money because Miguel Cotto is my favorite fighter. I picked him to beat Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao destroyed him. I remember losing that money that night. Okay, so that's Manny Pacquiao. Then you have Floyd Mayweather. Fought him after. Okay, he fought Miguel Cotto after at 154. Again, Cotto was a champ at 154. Floyd Mayweather went up there, beat him. It was a very competitive fight, okay? You could give Cotto 3 rounds, maybe 4, but it was a good fight. It was very competitive. Cotto had his moments. Floyd still won pretty clearly. He won pretty clearly. Just like De La Hoya. He won by decision clearly, but he didn't stop Cotto. He didn't dominate Cotto like the way Manny Pacquiao did. Manny Pacquiao dominated Cotto. So I'm giving Pacquiao again. He gets the nod for beating Cotto. He had a better performance against Cotto. I know, and he fought Cotto before. Now, as far as which better version of Cotto that they both fought, me personally, I don't think the Cotto from 154 is the best version of Miguel Cotto. I don't think the Cotto that fought Manny Pacquiao was the best version. I think Cotto has been damaged since he fought Margarito, and I haven't really liked a Cotto fight since the last 2 fights. Okay, I like the fight against Delvin Rodriguez. I like the fight against Sergio Martinez. The recent fights, but outside of these fights, Miguel Cotto hasn't looked the same since he lost to Antonio Margarito, in my opinion. So if I'm gonna base it on that, Cotto at 147 against Pacquiao, Cotto at 154 against Floyd, I'm taking Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao had a better performance. All right, so let's go to the next guy. Let's go to Ricky Hatton. Ricky Hatton had Floyd Mayweather fought him first. They were both undefeated. Floyd fought him at 147. Ricky, I don't believe he ever fought at 147. He was coming up from 140, fighting Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather stopped him late, I believe the 10th round. Okay, it was not really that competitive. You know, Ricky had his moments, but I wouldn't really say it was competitive. It was a pretty good fight. It was entertaining because Hatton's an aggressive fighter, but Floyd stopped him, knocked him down a couple of times, hit him with that check left hook we all remember, and then after that, Floyd finished him off. Whereas Manny Pacquiao went there, fought Hatton a couple fights later at his weight division, okay, at 140, knocked him out in 2 rounds, dropped him in the first round, knocked him out cold. In the second round, there's no comparison. Manny Pacquiao wins again. When it comes to those two or those three fighters, I think Manny Pacquiao fought, Floyd Mayweather did it first, but Manny Pacquiao did it better. He knocked him out quick, and he knocked him out cold. Okay? So that's 3 fights already. I gave all 3 of them to Manny Pacquiao. Now, the last 2, Sugar Shane Mosley against Floyd Mayweather. Floyd fought Shane. Shane came off his win against Antonio Margarito. He knocked out Margarito, or he stopped Margarito. Floyd got hurt in the second round by Shane Mosley. Okay, we all remember that. It was a classic. But after Floyd recovered, it was over, even in that round. I don't think Shane hit Floyd again for the rest of the fight. Floyd Mayweather Jr. put on a performance that he just destroyed Shane Mosley. I mean, every round, it wasn't competitive. Outside of that second round, it was no longer competitive. He beat the hell out of Shane, round by round. Okay, he put on a great performance against Shane Mosley. I mean, this is not Ricky, this is not Oscar De La Hoya or Miguel Cotto. I mean, he destroyed every single round Shane Mosley for the rest of the fight. Now, Pacquiao fought him a little bit over a year later. Shane Mosley at this time just hasn't looked good. He didn't look good against Floyd. I believe he fought Sergio Mora after Floyd. Didn't look good in that fight. Didn't look good against, I can't remember. Maybe Sergio Mora was after. Not sure if it was after or before Pacquiao. Should have checked that. But anyway, Shane Mosley at this point is getting older. I mean, at this point, he didn't look good against Floyd. Pacquiao fought him. Pacquiao knocked him down. Okay. Won every round. I wasn't as impressed with his performance as much as Floyd. Floyd beat him to a point where it wasn't competitive at all. Like, Floyd beat him and didn't get hit by the guy. He made Shane afraid to throw a punch at that point. Manny Pacquiao, his performance was good, but it's hard to outclass Floyd when you don't knock a guy out. He beat him for 12 rounds. He won the decision, but it wasn't as impressive to me as Floyd Mayweather's performance. Floyd Mayweather did it while he was a champion at 147. Okay, Shane came off a big win against Antonio Margarito, and I was more impressed with the performance that Floyd Mayweather did. I'm giving a nod to Floyd Mayweather. Okay, so last but not least, Juan Manuel Marquez, who is pretty much the most important one out of everyone, because Marquez is a guy that has beaten and knocked out Manny Pacquiao. And all the 3 rounds before that or 3 fights before that are very, very questionable who won all those 3 fights. You had a controversial draw, which should have been, based on the scorecard, should have been a win for Pacquiao, but it was a draw. Then you had a split decision win against, in the second, a rematch for Manny Pacquiao. Then you had a majority decision in the third fight. The third fight is the one that most people feel that Marquez won, and he got robbed, okay? I also agree. I think Marquez won the third fight. Would I call it a robbery? I don't know. The word robbery, I don't really use it too much unless it's a clear win. But I thought Marquez won the fight, okay? And then we all know what happened in the fourth fight, all right? Manny Pacquiao got knocked out cold. Didn't look good for him, all right? So anyway, Floyd Mayweather fought Marquez 2 years, okay? It was a fight that he haven't fought in 2 years. He beat Ricky Hatton. He went on his fake retirement thing or whatever. Came back 2 years later, fought Marquez, okay? Marquez was fighting at lightweight, moved up to fight Floyd. They fought at a catchweight of 144, I believe. Floyd didn't make the weight. He came in at 146. Okay, got fined and everything. Everyone was controversial. It was a controversy thing, whatever. Marquez was moving up. All right. Floyd dominated him. Okay, beat him just as good as he beat Shane Mosley. Knocked him down as well. It wasn't close. Okay, it wasn't a close fight. Marquez to this day will sit here and say that's the only fight that he thought he ever really lost. He would never fight Floyd Mayweather again. He's won in rematches with Manny Pacquiao. He's won a rematch with Tim Bradley. But Floyd Mayweather beat him so bad that he doesn't even want to fight him again. Okay, now a lot of people bring up the fact that Marquez moved up and was slow. I don't really buy that. You know why? Because Marquez went right back down to 140. He went to 140 and he stayed there until he fought Manny Pacquiao the third time. Marquez never went up to 147. Like he's always been a smaller guy. All right. Marquez on average comes around weighing 144, 143 when he's fighting at welterweight. He's never the bigger guy. A lot of people say he was slow when he fought Floyd. No, he wasn't slow. It's just that Floyd made him look slow. Okay, he wasn't slower. He just looked slow. When Manny Pacquiao moved up in weight, it was fine because he was still fast and everything. Marquez just got dominated. That's all it is. When every other fight, when he fought Pacquiao, when he fought Bradley, when he fought Alvarado, he looked good when he's moved up. But against Floyd, he looked very bad. He looked very slow, and that's it. Now, Floyd coming in a couple of pounds overweight, yeah, it's bad that he agreed on fighting at a certain weight and didn't make that weight. It is bad, all right? I'm not condoning that. I'm not, trying to give him a pass on that. But at the end of the day, they came in, they fought only a few pounds. Floyd was only a few pounds more than what Marquez weighed on the night of the fight, and Floyd dominated him, and Marquez does not want a rematch, right? He doesn't feel like he was treated unfairly or they fought unfairly. No, he got beat. He took the loss like a champ, and that's that. So Floyd dominated him, and Manny Pacquiao, all the fights are debatable. I mean, the performance, you can't even compare. This is the one that you can't compare. Okay, the last time they fought, Marquez knocked Pacquiao out. Marquez arguably won the first 3 fights. There's always a split decision or majority decision. It's never a clear-cut win, whereas Floyd dominated Juan Manuel Marquez. So I'm going to give it two fighters. 2 fighters, Floyd get the nod for. 3, I gave to Manny Pacquiao. I think outside of Marquez is very debatable on who you think won, what's more important. Whether Floyd fought the undefeated version of Ricky Hatton. He fought Oscar De La Hoya when he was a champion and everything. To me, Oscar just wasn't the same in neither one of those fights. Okay, not at 154, nor when Pacquiao fought him at 147. But I gave the win to Pacquiao because of the fashion that he beat Oscar in. I think he still would have beat Oscar in this very same fashion if he had fought him later, because Oscar at that time wasn't great even at 154. All right, so I gave it 3 fighters to 2 for Pacquiao. Doesn't change my opinion on who I think is going to win the fight, because Floyd Mayweather is going to win this fight, in my opinion. I think Floyd's going to win. It doesn't change the outcome. It's just that Pacquiao, for the majority of these fights, fought these guys after or whatever. For the majority of these fights, he fought them after, and he was able to finish what Mayweather started. But at the end of the day, I thought Pacquiao's performance was better for 3 out of the 5 fighters, all right? So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Try not to make the video too long, but, I didn't want to do separate videos for each fighter. That's too much. Make sure you check out D-Style because he's the one that created this whole topic thing. I thought it was a great idea. So check out his videos and make sure you subscribe to his channel. And make sure you subscribe to mine for sure. Peace.